he was sitting in this cheap chair because some of the young guys, he was like 15 or something, he was like, Mr. President, it would be my honor if you would play me in FIFA. And he was like, sure. And his PR manager, she went like, oh no, no, we can't do this. So it's the German president, a guy who's been through politics for 50 years. And he didn't pay a single second of thought to thinking, this 15-year-old will play me in a game.
Thank you very much for joining us, Jonathan.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Jonathan, I would like to pass the microphone to you first to just introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah, so I'm Jonathan Schüßler. I am a videographer and photographer from Germany. I shoot a lot of weddings. I do a lot of marketing stuff. Also a bunch of like local SEO. Been in the space for nearly 10 years now. And yeah, excited to be on the podcast.
Very nice having you. Jonathan, I find your position very unique because you come from a very scientific background, coming from mathematics background. How do you think that logic and structure influence your creativity today?
I think it made all the difference. So on the marketing side of things, it really helped me understand algorithms a lot, which is mainly what we focus on every day. Like even if it's TikTok, if it's Instagram, if it's Google, I don't really mind because I understand how they combine stuff in different ways. And in the wedding space, I only got into mathematics because I really love puzzles and like figuring out how stuff works, how it's connected to each other, and how I can reuse certain principles in other fields. So on a wedding day, I get thrown into this huge puzzle that I only have the couple that I've talked to before. And I have the venue. I do have a bunch of people running around doing all sorts of different things. And I'm just trying to find places where I can use all the, in photography, we have so many like composition rules, lighting rules, like all different stuff that I feel like you need a lot of creativity to combine those in the right moments, which is pretty similar to how you're trying, especially in the beginning of the mathematics studies, you try to figure out, you learn about different ways of proving a point. And that's basis on like, you have these base principles and you try to adjust them to learn more. And that's pretty close to what I do as a photographer anyways.
I always say, coming from somewhat of a similar background, I went to electrical engineering and somehow find my way back to marketing. Never thought that that's going to happen, but life teaches you wonders.
How do you like compare the two in your case?
It's for me applying a lot of, like for example, when I was in electrical engineering, I had to learn a lot of coding. Also, when you're looking at something that always interested me for a concept of electrical engineering was the magnetism. So there is sense of imagination and creativity that is almost at the micro level exists within science that just boosts those imagination fibers. But at the same time, I think it provides a structure that liberates creativity. In marketing, you made a fair point. You mentioned algorithms, for example. We got other frameworks, funnels, customer journeys. It's all mapping, right? To your point, it's all solving puzzles. And much like a filmmaker that uses the storyboards for scaffolding. How important do you think is the concept of storytelling in your observation? Do you think storytelling is a mundane task that needs to be just checked off, or do you think that should be a cornerstone of every brand activity out there?
Oh no, it's 100%. It's the basis of everything. Like you need to have a great product in the first place anyways. Like if you have a shit product, No one's going to buy it no matter how good your marketing is. But if you have a good product, building the right story around your product and showing it to people the right way, which is not saying we have the best product and this is the product, you should understand how good it is. No, the story is everything in marketing and marketing should always be the basis. Like all your employees, from your CEO to someone who's cleaning, which is definitely not, like, I don't want to look down on people who are cleaning because they make up so much of what your brand image is as well. So everyone should know what the product is and why it's good, but should always have a story to tell about your product. So storytelling is essential to understanding what the product can do for your customer instead of what the product is to your customer. It doesn't matter what the product is to your customer. It should always be how does the product change your customer's life? And that's the main story. And figuring that out always takes years. Like, you can get better at it over time, doing it for tons of people. So working in an agency really helped me, like, building a sense of what could work in this case. But the people who would understand it the most are usually like the people who pick up the service calls, because they understand what's wrong with the product, what people don't like about the product. And if you fix that, you can make your product good. But also, they understand what people imagined your product could do to them. So if they start giving you back this information, like, if people are complaining about your product, they're not really complaining about your product most of the time anyways. They're only complaining about, I had this in mind when I bought the product. Why is it not transforming me in the way that I wanted to? So storytelling is everything. And
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. I was kind of at the end of my train of thought anyways.
You brought in so many excitement in what you said that I just, and also I have to mention, this is my second cup of coffee, so I just naturally feel energetic right now. But you brought in so many great points, because even to the angle of storytelling, you have the external storytelling. There is the internal storytelling, creating culture around that. Everybody from, to your point, the person that cleans the desk all the way to, the CEO, they're all the brand ambassador. They have to constantly be able to speak about the product and also be able to, tell great stories about it. And then when you're talking about external, I always, in the past, when I was watching the commercials on TV, it was just a commercial. And now I like to analyze everything, because as marketers, we shall.
Yeah.
And there was this commercial that was coming on Hulu, I think was, or somewhere else. And it was a bank commercial. And instead of, going, hey, here is a credit card that you can get for 5% cash back, blah, blah, blah. It was, well, you got a naughty dog and it chews through everything, including your best friend's, sunglasses. And now you got to buy her a sunglass. And how can you afford that with the 5% cashback that we automatically give to you by you spending money? So there is this sort of dynamic storytelling that has to happen all the time to really not talk about the product, to your point, but talk about why is it important to me as a customer? Why should I engage with your product? Very interesting.
And also, this leads way further than it is right now, because we see a change in the market right now. It's very, very small so far. I think ChatGPT has like a 2% market share, which is nothing in comparison to Google. But all those LLMs, all those chatbots, they know most of the stuff that's on your website. They hallucinate a lot right now, but I think they will be getting better in the future. So far, we have always had our websites, our social media, only like the most important stuff that's important to the customer right now. Whereas we always had, like, the bigger companies, they understood for the last couple of years that marketing started with onboarding your team properly. So everyone from the person cleaning the desk to the CEO, they all know what the elevator pitch of the company is. And from now on, this also has to mean every chatbot in the world should understand what your company is about. and especially for what use cases your company is to. So this was just like a weird side fact right now, but I have talked about it a lot with other guys and also heard it on a few podcasts in the past few days that people are starting, like it used to be that people were having this like about us page on for a company, whereas webmasters were like, this page is nothing. No one really reads it. It doesn't matter. Nowadays, it's starting to get more important over time. If you have like a page where you're answering like 20, 30 questions, like you start few questions like who, what, when, whatever about your company, because LLMs will start to surface that over time and they will start to know this about you. And if this is like the same with stuff that you have in your press releases, in your social media posts, whatever, this starts the brand building from bottom up. And if the LLMs and your socials and everything talks the same way about you, and also all your employees do, then you have a strong message coming out. And this is the basis of everything. And if that's the story you're telling, and it's a story that's worth remembering, which is also humans love stories. That's why we watch TV every day. That's why we go to the movies. That's why we watch like sports. That's why sports documentaries are so big, because like even bigger than the sports themselves most of the time, because we love the drama. We love the build up. We love how, celebrities get trashed everywhere because we want to be part of that story. And the basic principle of storytelling is always hero meets a mentor, overcomes problem, right? We've all probably in marketing read that story brand Donald Miller, right?
Archetype?
Yeah.
Not the end, yeah.
Yeah. Probably most important, marketing piece of the last like decade, I think. Even nowadays, doesn't matter. If you have that set up in like a 1 or 2 sentences, that's perfect. Like you're starting to build.
Absolutely. And, you mentioned the About Us page and also the principles of storytelling. When it comes to well, it's a little bit of a digression, but it's always interesting to me because website is just one website. The viewpoint of a webmaster to the web designer, to the IT personnel, to the CX person on that one piece of content is so dramatically different. And so, when you apply that, that's just internal. Then you apply that to how users are interacting with that externally. You're going to see how important it is for us to be able to segment our audience and be able to leverage that to provide that personalized experience. And at the same time, when we are looking at the principles of marketing, really, principles of marketing hasn't changed since the Stone Age. We're still trying to define, we're trying to solve a problem. Maybe back in the day was inventing wheels so that we are not carrying tons and tons over our shoulder. And at nights, when there were no TVs, people were still gathered around over the fire and start telling stories. And that was the most engaging part of the day.
Yeah.
And so we see how important it is both telling the story, also telling dynamic, somewhat even personalized stories. And when I say personalized stories, because testing is also very important.
100%,
What
yeah.
framing, what story resonates with what sort of audience? The way that you're selling a credit card, again, going back to the credit card story, not getting any commission about the credit cards, by the way, guys. Like, it just popped into my head. Finance guy over here. But even when we are going back to the credit card, the way that you sell it to, a single mom, to a mom, to a dad, to the son, and to the CEO, to the business, to everything, everybody's changed. Everybody needs their own version of the story to resonate. When I was a kid, I remember my grandfather would tell me all these stories. There's a great Iranian poet, Ferdowsi, and he has written this I think it's called Tale of the Kings. And as he was telling the story, I remember I would say, "Grandpa, was I there?" And he would reframe the story to put me in the story, and I
Oh,
would
that's
be
sick.
more engaged,
Yeah.
right? But ultimately, that's really the important, I feel like, importance here when it comes to storytelling. As you said, the personalization, the being a brand ambassador to your, and also telling the story that is worthwhile hearing. When it comes to, many filmmakers talk about invisible direction, the
Mhm.
idea of being present, but really being unseen.
Mhm.
How do you apply that in photography, and how can brands learn to apply the same principle to their brands?
That's very difficult. So when I started shooting weddings, photographing weddings, sorry, not a word that is very good on the internet, anyways. Like all
That
very,
is true. I just
yeah.
I just caught that.
Yeah,
YouTube,
on
this was
the
the good kind of shooting with the camera.
uh, it's so tough because so many uh Google reviews get taken off because it's just not a word that they allow in reviews.
It was just crazy. I got, sorry to cut you off. I
All good.
got blocked from doing Google ads for using the word sustainability. And I said, since when sustainability became a negative word? So now, to those of you that want to use sustainability, take a look at it again.
Okay.
Or I might have spelled it wrong. I don't know.
Maybe you had like a dash in between. It was just sustainability, and they
Yeah,
were like, "No, we don't use
suspicious.
sus." Um, yeah. Wait.
Yeah, you
So
were saying.
coming back to yeah. So when I started photographing weddings, that was 2017. I
Hmm.
had some experience in the wedding space, so I've worked in weddings even as a student. But I had no idea about taking pictures. I've only had a camera for like half a year. Um, got given it for my birthday and just started figuring out stuff out with my friends. I only ever saw photographers that were like, really like posing people very intensely. So I did as well. And then I started getting more and more weddings, and I started feeling like this feels so impersonal. Like I would show up at the wedding, I would take the pictures, and the couple would be scared of getting pictures taken. They wouldn't know how they looked. Um, and there were also like there was this bit of like a cringe around them as well. So after a while, I started applying like different techniques that I heard about or that I made up. A lot of them are probably made up. So I started offering like free engagement sessions, which everyone still looks at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" But I get to so before a wedding, usually before they book me, I hop on a quick call, like a 10-minute call, just to figure out, is the wedding like in a decent style? Do they understand what I offer? Do they have enough money to buy me? Which is critical. And then we hop on a video call where we talk through the day, get all the questions answered. In between, I send them like some galleries, some videos, some testimonial videos, just to make sure that they still like have something to do, to know me a bit more, get more brand awareness. And then we do this engagement shoot where we just walk around. We barely take any pictures. It's literally just me trying to get to know the couple a bit more and them getting to know me a bit more so they feel more comfortable around me. Because, so in Europe, we have this thing called the PISA study. So every few years, they test in every country how good the schools perform, how good the students perform, and what is the key difference between them. And since PISA 2004, it's really, really obvious that the main difference between different countries and also different classes and their students is that students are better if they feel more connected to their teacher. That's the main difference in how good they perform in in the classroom. So I thought, well, how could I apply this to my world? So I thought, if I can get to know the couple more by not using too much time and also not using too much of their time, because most of my couples that they are like high executives, doctors, lawyers, whatever. They don't have much time, but they want to have a great wedding. So I figured this is the shortest period of time that I can use to get to know them, build the story before they sign the contract, get to know each other during the shoot. Sorry, today can. And then on the wedding day itself, they treat me like an additional guest, more or less. So if they do that, all their guests do that as well. So I can engage in conversation with their families, with their friends, and just shoot from the hip. Like it's
That one was a good one.
That's even worse.
Engaging in some hip fire right there.
No, so I got my camera ready and I'm still looking around, knowing what kind of pictures I want taken next. It could be either about the lighting in a certain spot. It could be about a group of people that I feel like there's something about to happen there. And I really engage with the whole audience. So I really get in there, trying, like, it's very uncomfortable in the first 2 hours every time. I'm just trying to make friends and I don't know anyone. But it's my job to make friends. So might as well do it. And after a few hours, it gets really comfortable. After like 3 hours, people start recognizing me as like a normal part of the ceremony. So this gets me closer to the people. They tell me about everything that's planned. Like it could be surprises. It could be them setting up something dumb. Happens on weddings as well. And this really gets me to like connect closer with the people I'm taking pictures of, which is the same as like a company getting closer to their customers is always better because it transforms the relationship they have with them and it transforms the view that the company has about their product as well. Because customers don't tell you, you could do this better if you don't have a good relationship with them. They will just write a bad review, which is not the best. It's an opportunity. It's better than not having a review at all sometimes, but getting close to your customers is, I think, in any business. I'm not sure if I off-railed completely from the question.
No, you that was, you just practiced the fundamentals of great storytelling and then you had the perfect conclusion at the end.
Nice. Okay.
We were engaging with a little bit of a Call of Duty with the hip fire thing, but
yeah. Whipping out the Tommy gun, being like,
it's very important to. I think that's a great. There was I was hired to teach a class as a guest speaker. I think it was 3 years ago, and the first session I just showed up like a very typical science teacher, just very strict, and here are some examples, here's what you got to do, boom, boom, boom. And then I looked at my students and everybody was just dozing off, And then the second round, what I did was, I was very lucky and fortunate for this to happen, but there was a gathering between the students and the teacher, and this was outside of the university concept, by the way. And then we got to really engage and have conversations and tell our personal stories. And then when we went for the second round or the second class, that sort of relationship all of a sudden brought everybody together and everybody's taking notes and I'm feeling more comfortable, they feeling more comfortable. And a lot of brands, what they do is unfortunately they don't build up that relationship, whether it's through community management, whether it's through other things. And that's a really missed opportunity because, to your point, the only majority of times, the only time that you will hear from the customer is when they're super angry or super disappointed in you. Unless you proactively engage with them, proactively listen to them and apply that to a lot of the successful businesses, whether it comes to, especially on the tech side, they proactively test, apply what they learn from their customers into the feature building and the iterations. And you see how engaged the users are on that. And when it's other way around, when it's just a selling point and you just create this wall between yourself and your customer, majority of times you just, you all you hear is your own sound inside your own echo chamber, and that's not really applicable. You mentioned also, the storytelling principles. How do you use storytelling? Because your work, to your point, is it seldomly happens that you can be proactive about what you're gonna do on the day because you have to improvise.
Yeah,
if I'm correct.
It's a mixture of both. So figuring out what the couple wants in beforehand is very important, but also you can never know what's going to happen. Even the couple will never know what's going to happen properly. So in photography, you can way easier just adapt to anything. In video work, you kind of want you want everything to go with each other. And you want a storyline that will carry you through the video without ever blinking. And that's very, very difficult. So there is a few of my colleagues that plan the whole video through beforehand. They have a storyboard, they have all different scenes drawn up, they have the voiceover already, they have the music already before the wedding even starts. For me, I really want to focus on the day. So I need to record. Am I allowed to swear?
Of course.
I need to record
Enjoy.
a shit ton of stuff on the day. So I have multiple microphones. I have multiple cameras. I usually have 2 cameras on myself, and then I have 2 in the bag. For the ceremony, I'll have 1 on me, 2 on tripods. Have the mic of the officiant get picked up. I have a backup mic. I have all of them connected through timecode, and yeah, it's a pain in the ass to record all that stuff. And usually it starts off, I get to the wedding day, I know what kind of music they're like, I've met them before, I know what they do for work, and I know how they seemed towards me for the first few times we met. But a wedding day is different because it's so personal. It's only their most important people around them that know all the weirdest stuff about them, that know their most personal stories, and hopefully they're going to bring them up and embarrass them in front of everyone. And to get a story really is tough. So you have the officiants, they always say the same stuff. My wife, she's always laughing from the other room. So usually I have this door open when I'm editing, and just today, I was going through the ceremony and my wife kept cracking up at every phrase that every officiant says. And she was starting to speak while the officiant was speaking in here at double speed. So I was like, and they go, so I usually always watch everything at 2 times speed because it just takes too long. And she just started fulfilling the sentences because it's so obvious what they're going to say. So I'm just trying to get all the personal stuff out of there, extracted, and it's tough. And I'm like, how am I meant to build a story out of this? And for the first few hours, I have no idea where this is going. Really, I have not a single clue. I will only just know that I will scrap up all the phrases. And then at some point during the day, I will start getting the feeling of, okay, this is everyone's vibing. It's summary. People are dancing to the saxophonist already at I don't know what you call it, the part where everyone gets Prosecco and is just talking before dinner starts. We have 2 words in German, but I don't know the English one.
I stick to your German because I lost the English one too. And it's funny because I got married last year and I learned all of this.
Cocktail hour. I got it. Cocktail hour.
Cocktail hour. That's it.
That's the one. Yeah. So during cocktail hour, people start dancing. So I'm like, okay, this could be like a flowy, dancey kind of video. So, and then I remember, the officiant maybe said these 2 things, they met at this bachata class, whatever. So I will start finding frames that suit this. So beforehand, I would always approach it as I want every option to be open. So I'll get a very wide shot of every angle of every scene. I'll get 2 mediums. I will get 5 close-ups. And then I'll get all the talking parts from different angles so I can cut them easily. But as soon as I know where this is going, I will still do those basics. These 8 shots that I need from every scene are essential. But then I will start branching more into what really matters to them. So if I understand, they really like to dance, they really like to have fun with their friends, and they're all this vibey crowd, it will be that kind of edit. So I will start getting some close-up of some feet. Somehow this got the stuff of the year, and I'm definitely not selling them in other places. But people who wear nice shoes and dance, they really like their feet to appear in videos somehow. And then maybe like some dresses that are flowing in the wind while dancing, getting these like specialized close-ups. And maybe like something when I feel like, okay, the party's going to be sick because these guys really want to go for it. Then I'll get like the shot where the groom says like, let's party. And I'll try to have it on the tripod with the whole scene, but also get like a close-up of his face and then the way he's lifting his glass to get like a transition and moving from like this slow pace speeches during dinner to get this like ramp up to go straight into like, let's go. Yeah. To make sure that I can get the full emotion out of this scene and to transform the story that has started at the ceremony and that started building up, but it's truly just coming together in the edit in the end. But building this foundation on the day is essential because stuff you don't have, you don't have. You can't just AI your way out of this.
Yeah, I think that's a great segue to start talking about the AI, because when we are in a very interesting era where, because of few that, granted, they're doing fantastic, they're still powerful. I mean, we it's just how it's really crazy to me how we typed our own emails a year ago, and then all of a sudden we don't even type our own emails. Well, some do, but we are in a space that every other ad that I get on Instagram or LinkedIn, YouTube, is about this new AI. It's almost like a dot-com boom. There's just these apps popping out, this AI applications for creating, you don't need a full team to do your commercials anymore. We just, this AI does it for you. And I always find, and I'm not trying to force my opinion as someone that is, I'm not trying to stop the change. I want to embrace the change. But I don't think that we are in a space where a lot of companies, they try to force the AI to replace humans. But at least for the time being, for everything that we spoke about for the last 45 minutes, going back to the fundamentals of filmmaking, I always like the work of David Lynch, because for example, Twin Peaks was 3 seasons. First 2 seasons, really, like, you see films that can really be wrapped up in an hour, but it's dragged out for no reason. But David Lynch, like, he just took that idea of finding Laura Palmer's killer to, apologies YouTube, I'm talking about a film, to to an entire 3 seasons. And then it just, every intention, every single micro shot is, creating a thought, provoking a thought, ambiguity, sounds and silence compositions, symbolic consistencies, treating every frame as a portal that takes you to somewhere else. And these are the things that, if you're a great sense of imagination and you can write great prompts, you might be able to achieve some, but there is a lot of emotion, there is a lot of empathy, there is the emotional arcs that are happening, the joy, the tension, the resolution. To me, I don't think that these are going to be achievable by AI, at least for the time being. Maybe, I'll be surprised as AI becomes more like a human. But what is your take on that?
Oh yeah, I listened to this podcast by Edward Storm, and I think like 2-3 days ago he had someone on talking pretty much about the same topic. A quote that really stuck with me from that was, in content generation, AI is always playing it safe. AI will never, like, if you have like a scale from 1 to 10 of how good the content is, AI will never go below like a 3 unless it like fully hallucinates. It's doing okay, but it's barely getting over a 5. It can go maybe to like a 7 if you really prompt it nicely, but it's only learning from former content. So it's not making like dangerous decisions, which is really important in making great content. It will never do good research. It will never make the best films because it's not like you. Also, another quote that really inspired me over the last like month was, real art should always make you a little bit scared. you should always be scared that no one likes it. If you're not scared, you're not risking anything. And not risking anything isn't art. And that's AI. So that really like combines. Doesn't matter if it's writing a blog post or if it's filming a video. Creating content is easier than ever because you have so many assistants, but they should never be more than assistants. They shouldn't take over. Like, okay, you can like repurpose stuff and make it an AI video if it's original good content. Even if it's not, like some people, like I catch myself every once in a while watching like a short form video of the best places off and it's just fully AI. Doesn't matter. But the really, really good content, the stuff that sticks with you, it's probably assisted with AI. It's like, for me, cutting, denoise, background compression, setting the levels for the music, figuring out the beats of the music. That's like base level stuff that really helps me speed up my work and make it better. Because if I can spend less time on these like rigid, dumb tasks, then I can be more focused on the stuff that properly makes the video better. Same in photos. Like I use different stuff. So for photos, I use Aftershoot. It will sort all my photos into stacks of the same moment, and it will tell me which ones it thinks are the best. And then I just sit here with my Xbox controller on my walking pad, being like, yeah, that's the right one. No, 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 no. Yes, 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 yes. And I can just easily go through these stacks, and it's so much faster. Even than, like, if I think 5 years ago, I had this like, every photographer was using this program, and some are still using it because it's the fastest to preview pictures. But I'm so much faster now because it's like pre-done, but I'm still like, I have like an AI author, but I'm the editor. And then it's like doing some of the stuff like basic lighting, basic color tone, basic white balance, which is never great, but it's good. So I only need like 2 more steps instead of 4. So I can do it in one sitting instead of 2 because I don't need to do all the basic stuff until I get blind and not see what's good and what's not anymore. But I can do it in one because I see, oh, this picture is actually decent. And then this one, oh, I need to do this and this to fix it. It's getting me like 80% of the way by doing not only 20, but none of the work. And then I can do the top 20%, which make it actually great. I can actually focus on that because I'm usually the guy that gets 80% of the job done by doing 20% of the work. With AI, I can do the top 20%, which really helps. Generative fill. Like I used to be I couldn't be bothered editing out like fire extinguishers, trash cans out of the background. Nowadays, it's just 1 click and 3 seconds of waiting. So who cares? You don't need skill. You just need a little bit of time. So AI helps, but AI will not replace those creative tasks. And in SEO, we see AI images get rated badly. AI written stuff in content gets rated the worst by the Google raters, dashes, those like super fancy marketing words that are on every website. And AI thinks we actually talk like that. No, we don't. Make it sound like a proper human again. You can have AI, the way I use AI to like content creation is I will have ChatGPT voice recording on. I will talk all my thoughts in it. And then I will be like, can you give me like an idea of how I could use that in a content piece? And then I will tell it like what kind of content I'm looking for. And then it'll spit that out and I will re-edit all of it. It's a decent framework and it's organized, which I'm not. So it gets me like halfway or like even 80%, but it's not a good final product. And if you and I see too many people literally just pulling it, like getting it done, throwing it out. And I'm like, nah, it's not going to work. It's going to trash you. And it does in SEO and it also does on Instagram, TikTok, wherever. It might not do it today, it might do tomorrow.
I mean, just on a...
You're too, like, if you're doing it too much, you lose like sense of like getting actually good stuff out there.
Yeah.
And it will never be more than a 7. And in marketing, you want to get an 11 out of 10. 11 out of 10 will do your marketing for the next years. I've created like 10 videos this year that went viral, that are booking me weddings for 2027 right now. And they're not even considering other photographers because those videos hit the spot. And they've been like a concept that I've built up 5 years ago, and they're going viral this year. They've been building me bookings every year for the past like 4 years already. But this year on TikTok, they went so viral that they have so many views, and it's not a short-term play. I don't upload them and I get customers. Just before this call, half an hour before, I got a call from this guy. He was trying to book me for next year. And he was like, yeah, I saw this video. And it was one of the videos that didn't even go viral. It has 100 views, but 100 views, and I already have one paying customer. And some of the videos have 500,000 views. It's probably not going to be the same amount. Like, it's probably not going to be a 1% lead generation from that. Well, but if it is, well, I don't say no. Like 500 weddings, that's booking me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's we as marketers, we get so hung up on percentages, conversion rate, click rate, and it's a matter of lifetime value of the customer and also the effort versus the dollar. I mean, even if you run an ad on a, let's say, 70 unit price and you get one customer out of it, you just sold $70,000.
Yeah.
Right? Could that be compared to a ad that you ran for a $99 or $100 unit that got the same customer? So like, it's a matter of, I'm congratulating you in a sense because, I think the greediness that somewhat comes with, being a marketer, that we always want more. We always want more.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we're just going to have to stop. And by no way I was calling you greedy, but mostly myself, is just because sometimes what I do is I have my Google Analytics open, and on a daily basis, I just see these graphs going up and down, up and down. And at some point I say, you know what, if you just got one customer, you won the day. And we got to celebrate, right? And now, we are way past point, but our conversation is so engaging that I just don't want to stop, Jonathan. But I don't want to take too much of your time, so I'm going to ask you one last question with the hope that we are going to be able to continue this, hopefully in the future, with other engaging conversations. If you were, as a photographer, as a filmmaker, as a marketer, if you look at life in general or this conversation, and look at it as a lens, what would be the one frame that an audience can remember and learn a great lesson from?
That's tough.
We just summarize it to this film, because when I said the entire life, I said, well, there's a lot of lessons there. So I'll make it easy on you. Just this film, video.
No, I'll go for the life one because I learned a lot from it throughout this year, and it came up a few times in my mind, and it really made a difference to me. So in March, I got this call, and a friend of mine who's also a filmmaker was like, hey, Jonathan, I need you in 2 weeks. Do you have time? And I was like, actually, I do. What are you up to? And he's like, yeah, so we got the German president coming to town. And I was like, what? And you want me to take pictures of him? And he'll like, yeah, you're going to be the guy to follow him around for 3 days into places where the press isn't allowed, no one's allowed. And I was like, what are we doing this for? And he's like, we don't know yet. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it's probably just for archive. I'm like, what? So it really, like, I was like, I got the most interesting job I've ever done, but it's going nowhere. Well, people in 100 years will think different of this probably. They will think, cool, we had the German president in town. But the moment that stuck to my mind the most from the week, like, I've taken some pictures that I'm like massively proud of, but the picture that I came to mind when you asked this question was president of Germany. Like, he's not the most well-known guy because he's not the chancellor, but he's a very, very important man who we put in place because we had some historically bad chancellors. So he's holding the chancellor accountable. And he is well known, and he's sitting in this cheap IKEA chair in a room for young people. So it was very like, yeah, the town was only built like 50 years ago just for people who came from Turkey, Russia, and Italy to work there, especially in the steel and in the Nutella factory. But so we have a lot of, like, the city has a lot of immigrants, and that makes it a very, like, a melting pot of sorts from different cultures clashing together. And it's just a place where the young people can come together and just spend time. It's a great place. They can learn boxing and learn how to deal with each other properly. He was sitting in this cheap chair because some of the young guys, he was like 15 or something, he was like, "Mr. President, it would be my honor if you would play me in FIFA." And he was like, "Sure." And his PR manager, she went like, "No, no, 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 we can't do this." So it's the German president, a guy who's been through politics for 50 years. He's pretty old now, and he didn't pay a single second of thought to thinking this 15-year-old will play me in a game where he looked like he's never touched a controller in his life before. So they were playing each other, and he was just sitting there, and he had so much fun. And he spent, like, they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to play the whole game. We're only going to play to one goal." And he didn't know how to move, but he still got it defending for like 25 minutes. And it was hilarious.
So cool.
But he was not, like, this guy was so down to earth, and it made him, like, I became such a huge fan of him after this week. And this frame really, like, his mindset coming through life is, yeah, I'll sit down with a 15-year-old, play FIFA. And it got him to, like, this, yeah, just being so actually nice to people and actually caring about people, got him to be the official, like, first man of Germany. So why is everyone just getting their elbows out, pushing to the sides, if this is a way of, like, building a properly good story about yourself, and also building a good life where you can have an impact whilst not hurting other people?
I knew a person that was I don't want to make this religious in any way, shape, or form, but we had this individual that was atheist, and he would say that, at the end of the night, when you put your head on your pillow, if you are happy with yourself and that you did one good deed that day, you made an impact in the world, and that's good enough in any book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you made that's a very great lesson and impact, because being down to earth, being humble, helping people. There is so much unfortunate and bad war, famine that is going around in the world, that if we put our minds together, if we start helping others, we're going to be able to just, we're going to be able to subdue and overcome any of these challenges and problems. Jonathan, thank you very much for your time. You have a few minutes with the camera if you want to provide any information about yourself, or, now it's your chance to speak directly to the audience.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Yeah, you can follow me on basically Instagram, mainly. Check out my websites. I have 2 of them. I have one for weddings, one for, like, B2B related stuff. Probably most of your listeners are not in my target audience because they're across the pond. But follow me on Instagram. Follow me maybe on LinkedIn. I'll start posting there maybe nowadays. And yeah, we'll see.
We have some German listeners, so I appreciate everyone tuning in. And we're going to put all Jonathan's links in the description on Spotify and YouTube. Be sure to check him out. Once again, thank you very much, Jonathan. It was such a fun conversation with you, and I wish we had infinite amount of time, but hopefully some another time.
Yeah, I had a great time too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.